Welcome to the Hey Bills podcast with me, Joey D, edition or episode number 4. Again, just a fan doing my thing, having some fun here on the old interwebs. Former radio broadcaster, born and raised Western New Yorker that moved to the Carolinas when he was 20 years old. Been here ever since. Live in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I'm pumped today. I went to Costco here in Myrtle Beach, parked, and as I was walking to the store down the aisle where I parked, I saw 2 other Bills fans' vehicles, both with South Carolina plates, which means they're probably locals, which was so cool. They had stickers. I had 2 different vehicles with Bills stickers on their vehicles, and I'm like, yeah, baby. And here, hang on. What I have on the back of my vehicle, that right there. And if you don't know what that is the South Carolina. That is South Carolina, like a bill, shaped like a Bills logo. Got that on Etsy. Very cool stuff. I love it. Okay, anyway, I hadn't done one of these in a couple of weeks because I felt like, my first few, all I was doing was watching other podcasts and getting other reports from training camp and basically saying the same stuff that all those other guys were saying, which I love those other guys. And I watch them and I still watch them for informational purposes and for their opinions. But, I wanted to have my own opinions because I do. When games get going and things, when my eyes see things, I come up with my own opinions on things that might be contrary to what some other people think. But again, from my perspective, a fan. Now, mind you, I'm a hardcore fan who, as a young guy, I was an athlete. Never played college sports. But through high school, I was on all the teams, got varsity letters in several different sports. And played football for only was able to for 1 year. I spent a lot of time overseas. I was only at a school that had football for 1 year, my junior year of high school, Lackawanna High School. Go Steelers. I was in 1983-84. I was on their team. Anyway, so first preseason game against the Colts, 23-19 victory. I had to actually look at the score because I didn't even remember the score because, to me, that's not why I watch preseason games. Triss, my wife, she drives her crazy. She's like, you don't even care what the score is? You don't even care who won? No, I don't. All I care about is certain things. And we're going to go through some of those things. Just from my eyes, my perspective, I kind of went through several things. As you can see, I am wearing my Damar Hamlin jersey, which I didn't really have this jersey for most of last year because obviously what happened to him happened late in the season. And matter of fact, I may not have even purchased this jersey till like the playoffs. It was really late. So I was up there for the Miami, not the playoff Miami game, but the late season Miami game in January. I was in Buffalo at the game, the snow globe game, the fun game. And I didn't have a Hamlin jersey then. But I got to say, I got my Hamlin jersey on now. I got my Believe hat on, and I have it for a reason. That, probably more than anything else, to me, that's what that game meant on Saturday night. It meant more for Damar Hamlin than it did for anybody trying to win a spot on the roster, for anybody trying to win a starting linebacker or cornerback position or offensive line position. It meant more to Hamlin, especially in the big picture, than anybody else. And it kind of brings chills when I think about it and talk about it. I was watching him, his first couple plays, I noticed he was in there, that the TV started showing him in there, and he wasn't really in on the tackle the first couple plays, so it was like, okay. And then the first play, when the stadium erupted, you could hear the stadium on the TV kind of erupt, and it was like, oh, okay, he's good. And then they showed the replay. Then he had another tackle. And looked fine. Didn't make any mistakes. Wasn't hesitant, as Tasker kept saying on the broadcast. Was not hesitant at all, which was great. So kudos to you, Damar Hamlin and his post-game words. Awesome. 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 I am a fan. I don't care if he's the number 4 safety on the team. I'm a fan. And I will wear this jersey proudly throughout this season. Obviously, I have other jerseys I'll be wearing, but I'll wear this one. It might go to the front of the list for this season. I don't know. So I really enjoyed that, seeing Damar Hamlin go through his first real contact. I mean, he's had some contact at practice, but they don't tackle in practice. It's just a thump. They don't really tackle. So unless it's against Josh Allen, then apparently they tackle. But anyway, let's not go there. That happened at training camp. One more thing before I get to the more Bills that I really noticed, good and bad, in the game. Loved seeing Isaiah McKenzie out there having fun. Loved how they showed him get ready for the first kickoff. Love how they talked about him playing catch with the crowd. I personally got to play catch with Isaiah McKenzie last year, opening day. Was it a Monday night or Sunday night? I forget, but it was the Titans game. The home opener, not opening weekend. Home opener last year. We were at that game. We were in the tunnel end zone, kind of over there near where, not a little, kind of between where Bill's Elvis sits and the tunnel. That way. Kind of on the corner, not quite on the corner. And I had his jersey on. I had an Isaiah McKenzie jersey on that day. And I stood up on my seat and pointed, and he threw me the ball. I threw it back. It was cool. So I love me some Isaiah McKenzie. I really do. I love him more for what he is as a guy and what he is in the locker room than his play. His play can be exciting, but he does make mistakes, and it's kind of up and down with him. But it was great seeing him out there having fun and actually making a couple of good plays for the Colts, which was good to see. I was glad to see that. Anyway, let's get back to important stuff about our roster. QB2 stuck out to me next. Everyone's talking about it. I might as well chime in as well. Unless Kyle Allen really wets the bed in the next 2 preseason games, he's going to be the backup. I truly believe. He's Josh's guy. He's got the arm talent. He's still learning the offense. Matt Barkley knows this offense like the back of his hand. All right? Yeah, he was, 14 of 15 or 13 of 14, 2 touchdowns, 172 yards. Yeah, he had a perfect game. But he does hold the ball kind of long sometimes, and he's not mobile. He got sacked a few times because he just holds the ball too long sometimes. Although when he gets it out, but when he holds it, he can't escape. So I don't know. I really truly think Barkley's going to end up being the practice squad 3rd string guy. Kyle Allen will be the backup because the Bills can't stash Kyle Allen on the practice squad. Someone else will sign him to their active roster as their backup. So there's all this talk. I think it's all nonsense. I think Kyle Allen is the backup. Again, unless he totally wets the bed the next 2 games, I think he's the backup. Anyway, middle linebacker. Let's get to more important stuff. Starting positions. Middle linebacker. Now, Bernard was out for this game. By the way, you're going to keep seeing me look over here. As a former radio guy, on the radio, I used to always have notes, and I would read, but you couldn't see it because I was on the radio. So if you see me, I've got notes right here, so I know what I'm doing. Otherwise, I'll be all over the place, and this will make no sense. So I'm trying to make a little bit of sense. The little that I have. Bernard was out, and he's obviously right there trying to win that starting spot at middle linebacker, and he's hurt right now. So that's hurting his chances to win this spot. Dotson didn't look great. I mean, I guess he was okay. I didn't see any big mistakes, but I didn't really notice him much either. So I don't know what to think of that. Don't know. Spectre. I thought Spectre was a little more in on this than he is. Man, he didn't even see the field until the second half. Matter of fact, AJ Klein took the field as middle linebacker before Spectre did. So, I don't know. I think Baylon Spectre is pretty much out of the running. I think it's between Dotson and Bernard. And I think it's going to be Dotson. Unless the Bills signed, apparently there's a few free agents out there available that might even be better than what we have already in Bernard. That are, long time, what's his name? Barr. The guy that Josh Allen leaped over in his rookie year. Anthony Barr, former middle linebacker for the Vikings. He's available. And if you want a guy that was similar in build, or at least a little closer in build than what we have currently to Tremaine Edmonds, Barr, I think, is a taller guy. I think. So, I don't know. This middle linebacker thing, hopefully it doesn't hurt them. I don't think it will. And we'll get to why. And I'll kind of circle back around and get to that later. Cornerback 2. This is interesting. Kaiir Elam, I still think, is going to get every opportunity to win this job. He is a first-round pick. He is very talented, very athletic. He's got the body. He's got the build. He's got the athleticism. And it's true what you keep hearing people say about him. I see it too. He gets handsy, and he gets penalties called on him. He got a penalty called on him in this game. And it was a bad one. It was one that it wasn't going to be a completion. It was a senseless penalty. He just grabbed just had a hold of the jersey right by the shoulder pad, right here, out of the break. The receiver broke. Elam had him like this. They're going to call that. You can't do that as a cornerback. So he's got to stop, or he's going to just not be a starting cornerback in this league. But he is young. He's younger than some of our rookies this year. He's younger than Kincaid, and he's younger than Osiris Torrance. So he's young. Maybe they're going to give him extra chances because he's young. And he's an athlete, and he's a second-generation NFL player. His dad was a very successful tight end back in the 90s. Benford, and then we've got Benford, who looked okay. I mean, he looked fine. I didn't notice him a lot, but he looked good. I think Dane Jackson, though, if the season were to start today, Dane Jackson would be your starter. He's definitely got the leg up on Kaiir Elam. He got the interception. He looks solid. He never makes mistakes. He doesn't seem to make any mistakes. He don't get the penalties that Kaiir Elam gets. If Kaiir don't cut down on the penalties, Dane Jackson is your starter. And I don't think that's a bad thing. Because the way McDermott is calling this, and I'm going to get into this a little bit now. The way McDermott is calling this defense, I love the way, especially the first and second team defense looked Saturday. They were dominant against the Colts. Dominant. Didn't let them do anything. I almost said the S word. Didn't let them do which I'll do occasionally on here. Just fair warning. This may not be for kids. Occasionally. I'll try to steer clear, but occasionally it's going to happen. McDermott is going to be more aggressive. He's blitzing in the preseason. You hardly ever seen blitzes in the preseason. He was blitzing. He was fake blitzing. He would have a whole bunch of guys up on the line of scrimmage like a blitz was coming and back him off. In the preseason, he's doing that, which means he's going to be aggressive as hell come regular season, especially that first game against the Jets. Aaron Rodgers, I think there's going to be a test to see if you have an offensive line. Last year, the Jets did not have an offensive line. They didn't seemingly make a lot of changes there. To me, I think the Jets are overhyped because I think they could have offensive line trouble that will give Aaron Rodgers fits. Just threw that in there. Anyway, So I love the fact that McDermott is going to play aggressive, most likely, as a defensive play caller, which I think that kind of helps the middle linebacker thing, because if you're getting more pressure with your front four, and then if you're blitzing safeties and your Taylor Rapps, your Micah Hydes, your Jordan Poyers, or your slot corners, or even a cornerback every now and your linebacker. If you're blitzing guys, I think that kind of helps. It helps not having a stellar middle linebacker. Let's put it that way. You're not going to have a Luke Kuechly like you had in Carolina. You're not even going to have a Tremaine Edmonds. I was combined him with the Terrells and the Terrells. Even though I wasn't a huge Edmonds fan, last year he played well. That was his best year of his career. Timely, he got the big money. So I think we'll be okay. And at cornerback 2, Dane Jackson, remember, was a starter pretty much all of last year. Even after Trey came back, Dane Jackson kind of shared some of the starting duties with Elam and Benford. More Elam, I think, late in the year. But Dane Jackson's been a starter. The defense has not been hurt by that. Especially if the rest of the defense is being aggressive, I don't think I mind having a Dane Jackson who doesn't make mistakes on that side. And you can be more aggressive with Trey on the other side against the number 1 receiver. I kind of like that. All right, other guys I took notice of in this game. And there's a list here. I'll try to get through them quick. These are guys that popped to me. Guys that weren't first and second team guys. Number 1, to me anyway, was Dorian Williams, the rookie linebacker out of Tulane. Yes, I understand he's not in the competition for the middle linebacker spot because they don't want to put all that on a rookie, having to call the defense and having the dot on his helmet and all that, and having the coach talking in the earpiece in the helmet. They don't want, and having to make calls. They don't want a rookie having to do that. Although he did a lot of that in college, and you can tell just by hearing him talk. And I think he is a natural leader. I don't think it's going to be a problem for him. They just didn't want to put it on him right away. I'm going to make this statement right here. I think Dorian Williams is our future starting middle linebacker. Unless something changes and we sign some free agent to a multi-year deal, whatever, I think Dorian Williams is our future middle linebacker. I don't know if that's going to be this year. It could be later this year. It might not be till next year. When they get him, when they think he's ready, maybe get him all through training camp and next year and through the offseason program and really get him familiar with that position. I really believe his first preseason game, zero hesitation from him. Zero. None. And he was fast, and he was making plays. He was making tackles. Of course, he was playing the other linebacker spot. He was playing the outside linebacker spot that Matt Milano plays. But, man, I noticed him on the field. He was obvious. And it's not just the hair that made him look like Tremaine Edmonds. Like us, Tremaine Edmonds Jr. Literally Jr. Mini Tremaine. No, it's not only because of that. He was making play. Matter of fact, he looked a lot better early on than Tremaine Edmonds looked early on. I'll tell you that right now. I think the guy's got a future as a starter in the league. The other guy this is kind of an aside. Latavius Murray, the 33-year-old man running back that we signed to kind of be a depth running back. He might play a bigger role than we all think. And I guess I just didn't think about it because he spent most of his career in the NFC and we as Bills fans probably haven't seen him enough. He runs like Eric Dickerson. Am I wrong? Dickerson was a taller running back. Latavius Murray, 6'3", I think. Dickerson was a taller guy who had that upright running style instead of the leaning forward, like most running backs. He had that upright running style. And I always remember, because he was so fast, he'd get in the open field and he'd have that upright running style, knees getting high, and his head didn't move. He'd run and his head was like this. It was crazy. But Latavius Murray kind of reminds me of Eric Dickerson when he runs, because he has that upright running style as a big, tall guy. Anyway, that's kind of an aside. James Cook looked good. He looked fresh. He looked fast. Looked like he was hitting the hole with the right timing. Not too fast, not too hesitant. I think Cook's going to have a big year. And then Jordan Mims, who I think that's the first time I've ever said his name. The rookie, undrafted free agent running back out of Fresno State. He looked good. Would not surprise me if he does not make the team, which I don't think he will. I don't think the numbers work to keep another running back. Would not surprise me to see him on the practice squad. Jordan Mims, running back out of Fresno State. He looked good to me. You know who looked good? I'm going to put two guys together here. And they both needed it badly. Probably the two guys that in my head anyway, in Joey's depth chart in his head, one guy was probably the lowest defensive end on the depth chart that was on the verge of making or not making the team. The other guy was kind of the lowest defensive tackle, in Joey's mind. Boogie Basham, Tim Settle, both looked really good. Boogie had a sack. Boogie and Settle kind of combined for a sack. And Settle made a couple of big plays, stuffing the run in the middle, especially on that 3rd and 4th down and short. He was right in the mix. Boogie made a big play on the 3rd down there, where it was like 3rd and 2. He came knifing in off the edge and was first to get the running back to keep him from getting the first down. And then he didn't get the 4th down, and we got the ball back. I'm gonna go Boogie, Settle, and then truly the rest of the first and second team defensive line totally. Defensive ends and defensive tackles. I think our D-line is going to be dominant this year. Barring injury, we need to get Bond back. We don't need any other key injuries to guys. Barring injury, our D-line, dominant this year. You can mark my words. Domination by the D-line of the Buffalo Bills is going to be a regular occurrence this year. Probably the best D-line we've had since the, early 2010s. When we had, who was the dude? Here I go with names. Mario Williams, back in the Mario Williams days. Okay. When we had Mario and we had Kyle Williams as a young guy, and we had Jerry Hughes, and then we had the big dude from Alabama. What's his name? Back when he was good before he got his big contract. Though that was a dominant defensive line. I think we have another dominant defensive line. I don't know if it'll translate into a whole bunch of sacks, but I think they're going to dominate games as a D-line. Love the looks of the D-line. All right, let's get off the D-line. I've said D-line enough. The other thing that stood out that actually everyone's kind of talking about, the depth wide receivers on this team. And I don't know if I'm going to have a hot take. I don't think this is going to be as hot of a take as the Dorian Williams take that I had earlier. I'm not a hot take guy. I don't make hot takes just to make hot takes. I just have feelings about things, and I like to proclaim. I proclaim. Yes. I need a judge's gavel. I proclaim. Anyway, sorry. Like I said, I'm in a weird mood today. The depth wide receivers. Again, I'm not going to proclaim anything, but I'll tell you what. The two guys at the tail end of what is the perceived roster at wide receiver, in my mind, is Shakir and Shorter. Are the two guys, number 5 and number 6. That's what they are. Because I think Deontay Hardy's ahead of them. I think Trent Sherfield's ahead of them. And, of course, you got Diggs and Davis. That's 4. So you got 5 and 6, Shakir, and then 6th-round pick Shorter. Or was he 5th-round pick? Whatever he was. Shorter did nothing. I did not even notice it. I noticed his number a couple of times in the game. That's it. He did nothing. I do not think he even got targeted. And then Shakir made that big catch and looked good. Had another catch, looked good. And then the drop. The drop heard round Bills Nation. The drop Bills Mafia is focusing on today. Shakir. I'm worried. You look at stuff like that, and apparently there's been reports of training camp of him dropping balls every now and then. And then you see guys like in the game, Keyshawn Johnson, Marcel Aitman, Desmond Patton, Tyrell Shavers, who I've never even heard of before Saturday, with that touchdown catch. That was awesome. And then little Andy Isabella, who was a late signing, just really recently got signed, and he's making plays. And he can return kicks. I think Shakir and Shorter better show out the next 2 games. Shakir and or Shorter, one or the other or both, need to make sure they're on their game. They could be running into problems. Because there's a whole bunch of guys behind him that are hungry and ready to make plays and have already started making plays. All right. Saturday, 6:30 at Pittsburgh. Next preseason game. Let me go through the TV thing because I see it all over all the Bills Mafia groups. How do I watch the game? I got Sunday ticket. It's not on Sunday ticket. Okay. Preseason games have never, let me repeat, never been on Sunday ticket. Ever. Never been the case. And in recent years, every year's the same. Nothing's different about this year, although there are other options. NFL Network carries every single preseason game. Not live, because you can't, because there's so many games at the same time. The Bills don't have any live preseason games nationwide this year. Now, of course, if you're in Buffalo, you're in Western New York, and you have a local station that carries it, then you can watch it that way. We'll get to that later, too. I'm going to get to that's another pet peeve of mine I'm going to get to. Why don't people understand? I don't get it. So, again, NFL Network going to show the game. I don't know when. I didn't look at the guide. You got to look at your channel guide and look. Let's see. Again, the game is 6:30 Saturday night. It's not going to be on then. Go looking ahead of that. It'll be on overnight or the next day. This past weekend, it was on the next morning. And I think it was 7 a.m. I set my DVR ahead of time to record it. I was fine. Now, I watched it live because here's the other way that you can nationwide watch live preseason games only. The NFL Plus. I was going to say app. I don't think it's even an app. NFL Plus, which you go to NFL.com, you get NFL Plus, and NFL Plus allows you to watch all preseason games live. And you can cast it off your phone onto your TV or off your laptop or tablet or whatever and cast it onto your TV. It's easy. And it looked great. I did that. Look, I had no idea it was casting. It looked like just right off the TV. So it looked great. So that's the other way you can watch preseason games. Now, if you're in Western New York, from what I understand, DirecTV, as they do, as do all the cable companies, have issues occasionally with certain networks or the contractual issues come out. Right now, apparently Channel 4 in Buffalo has a contractual issue, or It's not them. It's not CBS, first of all. CBS doesn't have a contractual issue with DirecTV. It's the owners of Channel 4 WIVB. I think Nexstar is the name. But the owners and I think Rochester has the same problem. I think they're also with Nexstar. So if you have DirecTV in the Buffalo or Rochester area, you're not going to get your local channel on DirecTV. What I don't understand is, especially I see older folks that are used to the old days or understand how antennas work. Go get a freaking antenna. You don't have to spend that much. You don't have to put it on your roof like you used to in the old days. You get a decent digital antenna from Walmart for $20. Easy. You do that, you hook it up, you got your Channel 4 right there. And then the next time this happens, you'll have the digital antenna for if it's Channel 7 next time or Channel 2 the next time after that. Okay? Because it happens with DirecTV, happens with Spectrum, happens with cable companies, happens it's been happening for years. This is not a new problem. I see online all these Bills Mafia groups as if it's a new problem. People don't understand. I'm like, what is there not to understand? This has been going on for years. Just get a freaking antenna. It's not that difficult. Go get if you're bad with technology, go get your kid or your nephew or get somebody or your niece or whoever. Go get them to hook it up for you. It's really, really easy. I don't understand. I really don't. Okay. Am I done? I think I'm done. I think that's it. I think I've gone through my pet peeves here at the end. But I'm excited. I got my DeMar shirt on. I need to take a breath. Take a swig. Getting ready to go cook some good ribeyes from Costco on the grill. Yes. Although, I think it's 10,000 degrees out here in Myrtle Beach right now, South Carolina. This is a hot summer. The last week has been like mid to upper, even on the beach. Inland, it's worse. At the beach, it's usually a little cooler because of the water. That water is probably like 90 degrees. It's probably like soup in the ocean right now. I don't go in the ocean, so. But it's like mid to upper 90s every day, real temp. And then the feels like is like 110. It's like, and you go out there and the humidity is just unbearable. I can't even see out my windows. They're all wet on the inside. That's how humid it is. So anyway, feel lucky if you live in Buffalo this time of year, but come talk to me in December, January, February, and I'll be smiling, and you may not be. By the way, if you ever want to move here, I'm a real estate agent. I'm a realtor, so I can help you. So just, again, subscribe. You can even comment here. This is on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. I also always post it on Facebook. Share it if you would here in the early stages while I'm trying to get people to see this. Share it. If you have a lot of Bills fans that are friends, share it on your timeline on Facebook or wherever. And, I enjoy doing this. I have fun doing it. And I will see you after the next preseason game, which again is Saturday night. So I'll see you. I'll post another one either Sunday or Monday of next, I guess Sundays. I don't know, Sunday part of this week? Or do you think Sunday's the first day of the week? I'm not sure. Anyway, Sunday or Monday, I'll post another one. Y'all be good. Stay safe. Go Bills!